Welcome back to my cheap 10th anniversary Terminator Cobra build series. And I do realize that as this series goes on, it gets less and less cheap because I'm throwing more and more parts and detailing and everything at it. But it was purchased cheap, and it is still cheap because all the mods that I'm doing to this, I would probably do to one that cost 30 or 40 grand as well. So up next in this series is more power. Yeah, that's right. We're heading back to the dyno because the whole visual transformation is done. This is where I'm leaving it. So the next thing, if you know anything about superchargers, is this. I got a green belt, you know that's serious business. I've got a tuner, handheld tuner, so that's why we're going back to the dyno at Joe D'Souza at D'Souza Performance. And we have a smaller pulley. And if you know anything about smaller pulleys, they make more power. So let's pop the hood and see what's going on now. So before we head to the dyno and see the final numbers on this, it actually needs a couple modifications. So number one being the pulley. This is a smaller pulley. This is a Steeda 2.8 pulley. And this is what I believe to be possibly a Lightning 2.93 pulley, because if you put this pulley up to this one, it is indeed a little bit smaller. So 2.93 to 2.8, not the biggest difference, but I'm not trying to get the most boost out of this thing. But I'm going down to a pretty reasonable amount, so this will increase the boost pressure from the supercharger. Now, in order to get that on, I have to bring it to Joe at D'Souza Performance, and he actually has to let this engine cool down for basically like a full 24 hours, get everything super cold, don't start it, and he has to then put some sort of special pulley removal tool on the back of this pulley and literally just pull it off because it's pressed on and it's just, there's no bolt to remove it basically. Pretty difficult to remove, but once it's done, it's done. So then he has to heat this one up to, I forget, Steeda lists everything that you're supposed to do with this. You can either pop it into the oven or take a torch to it to expand this, and then it just slips on, and you just have to make sure to align it exactly with where the belt is. So that's why I'm letting Joe handle all that. I don't have time to film it. I don't have time to go back and let it sit for 24 hours. He's gonna do that, which is why I'm preemptively showing you what's gonna be done. Now I do have a second pulley. This is much larger than this one. This is what's referred to as a Snub Idler pulley. And this one basically just goes right beside the existing pulley, beside the supercharger, and basically just gets added to supply more tension to this belt. Because at these boost levels, which I should be seeing approximately, I'm guessing like 13 PSI or something like that, you start to potentially get belt slip. So what this does is it just makes the belt tighter around the supercharger, which is all you really want because you don't want belt slip, you just want horsepower all the time. Now, in order to do all that, this may have to move, I'm not sure. I'm gonna let Joe do that. Joe, I'm sorry if this is difficult to fit with this, but I've seen it done online, so you should be fine. And then we do have to throw on this belt. Now, I did get two different size belts just in case because the internet kind of was debating which size, so in the comments or in the description, I'll put which one I ended up using. And this is going to replace this black belt, and everyone seems to love these Gates green belts because they are heavy duty. Now it's just gonna replace that belt right there. Final thing, in order to make all of this work, is we have to tune it. And in order to tune it, Joe prefers the SCT system, so here's the SCT handheld tuner. And we have to change out the MAF to an SCT MAF that Joe likes to use because basically changing out to an aftermarket MAF gives you more parameters to be able to adjust and do all the fine tuning to get more power out of this thing. So you need a little adapter. Joe has the new MAF already for me. That slips on over there, replaces that one, and Bob's your uncle. But before I head to Joe, I actually have to get a little bit of work done. So in order to tune a car, you need to have a wideband O2 sensor. Some tuners like to just throw them in the end of the tailpipe, but Joe doesn't like to do that, which is very valid because you wanted a certain distance from the header, from the collector. And so I have to go to an exhaust shop, get an O2 sensor bung welded onto my Bassani Catted Exhaust before the Cat. And basically all that does is allow you to throw in an O2 sensor, specifically a wideband O2 sensor for tuning purposes, so that you can see the air-fuel ratio. And when it's not used, you just put a bolt in it, and then you're good to go. Or you can just run a wideband, put it in your car, and then you can see the exact correct air-fuel ratio. So let's go get that done. And right after that, head to the dyno and see what kind of horsepower numbers we put down and see what this all looks like in its final form. I'm so excited. I do have some guesses for horsepower, but we'll leave it for the actual dyno part. So we're at the dyno. Joe's already got it strapped up. Joe did all the work on this as well. So Joe installed these smaller pulley over here. Was there any issues with that or anything?
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. So everything was good here. So now we got that belt wrap, well, not a belt wrap kit. I guess that's kind of what that is roughly.
It's a larger idler, so you get more belt wrap on the smaller pulley.
Yeah, so we shouldn't get any belt slip anymore. So that was pretty straightforward. That's all you really had to do, put the gate screen belt. You used the shorter belt as well because I brought two.
I did, yes.
Okay. The one thing you didn't change was the MAF, and what was the reason for not changing the MAF?
It's already a 90 mil, and you're not anywhere near pegging it, so there's no point in changing it. You know, some people will upsell you, but there's actually no need for it.
Perfect. So there's the OE MAF that we're using, and we should be totally fine. Oh, are you going to remove this cover for the poles as well? Just so that we have a bigger...
I like to do real world. I mean, you're not going to have it removed on the street.
I might.
So what's the point? Well, you can remove it. It's not going to make much of a difference.
It just looks cooler.
All it's going to do is pull in more hot air from the rad.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it closed, I guess, if that's your advice. So numbers-wise, last time we had this on the dyno with the existing mods, it made 436 on this exact same dyno. I'm going to guess hopefully it makes 470. Fairly, a little high.
Give or take, I mean, condition of the engine, the exact boost number and so on. There's a lot of variables, so I don't, you know, give out fantasy numbers.
No, I don't want you to give a prediction. I'm going to guess and hope for 470. If it's below or above, I don't really care, but it'd be cool to see that number because this is a Mustang dyno as well, so it's more realistic to kind of real world numbers. But I guess let's get started.
All right.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to show anything that's happening on your screen, but you're going to be doing the tuning on this, which is using the SCT system. Okay, cool. So you got some graphs over there. I'll blur that out. Secrets. So we got the fans going, and we're going to start doing pulls. I'm excited to see what this is going to make. That looks so sick. I'm glad everybody told me to do the gate screen belt. Looks great. So let's get this thing fired up. Do a couple pulls. I'm guessing we'll probably do 3 pulls. Maybe one to see where it's at, air fuel ratios. Second one for tuning, just based off the first. And then if we go too high or too low, do the third one and then dial back or dial up. To completely stop. Joe's going to check some numbers and we'll see what we made. But that's the initial pull. Looks like we just made 455. 455. We are up already. That's good news. Looking decent. 455.
Yeah, it's conservative.
And you didn't take it close to red line either, so.
That was about 6,400.
What's that?
6,400.
Yeah, okay. Run number 2. Joe made some adjustments, reflashed the ECU, and we'll see what kind of difference we get. Like 452, 491. Wow. That's really good torque. Lost a touch of horsepower, but made way more torque. Make some more adjustments, plug away on the laptop, and do another run.
Pretty much all it's got.
Okay.
I don't want to put any timing into it.
Yeah.
It's a safe, conservative number.
You want to pull this thing off just for fun?
Well, let me make one change. We'll do one more, and then
we'll do another with that. Okay. I'm gonna keep this safe. I don't need this thing to make crazy record-breaking numbers.
Now, to
Again,
be
I'm
fair,
just happy
Jacob,
with an improvement. What's that?
Sorry, to be fair, the air temps were a little hotter, obviously, on that.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
It's gonna keep kind of going down.
yeah, the hotter it gets, it's
Yeah.
going to keep going down.
For
but
sure.
We'll go and
I got you.
see what happens.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I'm not going for record-breaking numbers. It's already making more than it did. I want this thing to be drivable and fun and last a very long time. So, very happy with that already. The heat is getting to the heatin' in the engine. 452, 488. So the heat's getting to it.
She's done. Buddy.
Yeah, she's done. All right. Even if we pull off that intake, it's
We can try that if you'd like.
just for fun,
Yeah.
even though it's getting hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just gonna pull this off just for fun, see if it makes any more power, just to get a little bit more suction area, but we'll see. I'm good with this number though, 452, 488, and it didn't already make more, so technically it's the higher numbers because it's just getting hotter and hotter, so perfect. We're gonna do one last run just for fun with the intake cover removed. So the last number we had was, let's see here, 452, 488, because everything's just getting really hot right now. So we'll see if we can get better than 452. If we do, that means removing it makes sense, but if you close the hood and then drive around, you're probably just gonna lose power. All right, let's go. Picked up more blower wine, which is good. Okay. So we want this to be higher than 452, hopefully. But also unlikely, because the engine's quite hot. We keep touching the supercharger and it's getting pretty toasty. Okay. We gotta wait for the speed to go all the way down. 454, hey! 2 more horsepower.
Come on, man.
All right, that's it. We're leaving the cover off. 2 more horsepower. Okay, so this thing makes 454, 455 after the first run, so let's call it that. Pretty reasonable. I think peak torque was 490 something, so right now it made 487. So I think this is our final numbers. I'm really happy with that. This thing's gonna be super fun to drive on the streets, which is what I bought it for. And we definitely picked up a lot of power, so thank you to all the sponsors who hopped on board, because this thing sounds so much better than it did when I originally brought it here, but man. All right, let's go. This looks so good now. Yes, Cobra is done for the most part. So you're just flashing the tune back?
Just flashing it, everything's done.
Can you do launch control on that little thing?
No.
Damn it. I always have to ask. Joe hates when I ask for that. Well, guess I better test this thing out now. Okay. This feels so much better, sounds so much better. That whine, oh my goodness. It is such a higher pitch now. One thing I didn't really talk about is that I think I gained 37 pound-feet of torque, and that is definitely quite a bit of torque to gain, and you do really feel that. The drivability is so much better. Joe did an incredible job tuning, but man, this thing sounds so good. I'm gonna drop the windows and send it. It's actually gonna whine even more because we have to go up an incline. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, I love this thing. This is, I built the perfect car. I'm so happy with the way that this thing drives, looks, and everything about this. Yes, I have the Cobra of my dreams. Thank you all. I love this thing. I'm just gonna keep driving it, but I guess I gotta go back to the garage and finish up this video. Oh my goodness. Pretending to get out of the car as if I just got home. This thing drove so well on the way home. Yes, I did have to get it here somehow. I did drive it, but it wasn't 5 minutes ago. Wow, does it ever feel better. 455 horsepower to the rear wheels on a Mustang dyno. So let's just call this probably 550 to the crank if you were to go from a dyno jet over to a crank number, you know, that whole 10%, 15%, blah, blah, blah thing. Let's just call this thing 550 crank. It rips. It is super fun to drive. The sounds that this thing makes, so much better. Smaller pulley spins the supercharger faster, which means it whines more. And I did take off that cover for the ride home for the intake. It whines even more. So it sounds perfect right now. Thank you so much to all the sponsors who've helped me for this entire series. Summit Racing, you guys provided so many parts. Thank you so much. Borla Exhaust, that exhaust sounds perfect. Combined with the Bassani X-Pipe, everything is working the way that I really wanted it to. Steeda, we've got that pulley on there as well. The air oil separators, everything that Steeda provided as well. The short shifter, you guys are incredible. Thank you so much. All the partners that I've worked with on this, the detailing, everything, it's all come together. Now, yes, 436 to 455 isn't that big of a difference, but the way this feels now, and I don't have to worry about it, I know the air-fuel ratios are all exactly where they should be. Huge thank you to Joe D'Souza from D'Souza Performance. If you want anything Mustang related in terms of high performance stuff, Joe's the man. If you want general maintenance, Ben, thank you so much for everything you've done in this series, for installing all the parts. Ben at Dixie Blue Service. You want your general maintenance, you want your oil changes, you want simple things to get installed on your Mustangs or any other car, go to Ben at Dixie Blue Service. Look at that. Yes. Here you go. Thanks, Ford.
That's awesome, dude.
I didn't need two of them.
I got a bunch of cool cups, and this is going in my cool cup.
All thanks to Ford.
All thanks to Ford.
Ivan's Auto Service. You want anything suspension related, go to Ivan. You want wheels and tires installed, go to Ivan. You want an alignment, he is the best at alignments. So thank you for that. And I mean, visually, look at this thing. It's a little bit dirty right now, so actually I'm gonna give it its first wash after all of the swirls and everything have been eliminated by Dre's Auto Detailing in Waterloo. These wheels, everything, the stance. Man, everybody who's helped me out on this project, thank you so much. You guys have absolutely killed it. I couldn't have done all of these things myself in the time that I wanted to get it done. Yes, I could have done a lot of it. It wouldn't have been as good as getting the professionals to do it, and it would have taken me a heck of a lot longer because I don't have that much spare time. So you guys going out of your way to do things when you fit them into your schedules was incredible, so thank you. I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of this car. All the sponsors, thank you so much for hopping on board. Maximum Motorsports, Continental Tire, everyone who's provided a single part for this car, I really appreciate it. Now, this is not the last video, even though it's really sounding like it is. Still a couple things that need to be done. The tint hasn't been done yet, so that'll get updated. The banner's gotta get removed. Very, very minor things left. Now, I will be doing a final driving video to see how this thing drives at the end of all the modifications, so it'll be a car review for a before after of this car. And that's gonna be the next video after this series. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And I don't know what's next. Actually, I kind of do. It's gonna be exactly where that camera is. And it's not exactly car or Cobra related. You stay tuned. It's gonna be good. I'm very stoked on it. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys at the next video.